I think that Supremacy League is very, very awesome for new players or for players that have played a while and they want to elevate their game a little bit strategically. Watching these teams can give them a different idea of how these teams mentally prepare for these maps. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. The competitive nature, and then working with a unit in such cohesiveness really allows for players to shine, for strategies to really work, to really make everyone get the most out of their ships and gameplay.
Absolutely. Now you see it a little bit when you're playing randoms or you're playing pub games where you have a little three-man division, and you can see three-man. We've done it. Everybody's done it when they group up with a couple of decent players and they pretty much take over the game.
Yeah, the three-man group is a very strong, and here you're going to have 8 players all on comms, responding to every moment on the battlefield,
Right.
real time. This is a much better way to execute. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you think we'll see any solo plays or anything like that? I mean, sometimes you see, oh look, the carrier's been spotted. Do you think we'll see any of those YOLO, let's go DD, go kill that guy just to pull a lead? I really honestly, once I see somebody in the lead, I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of patience between the team who actually has the lead at the time. The other team will be forced to push into them, and it'll be a nice refreshing gameplay. I know a lot of this playing in the ranked season. That's kind of what you had to do. If you were in the lead, you set on your lead, get positioned where they have to push into you, and then you're able to respond by everybody focus on the first guy that they see, get rid of him, and then focus on the next guy. I have a feeling we'll probably see a lot of that instead of, oh, here goes two guys around the edge. Who knows? Who knows what we'll see, though? But we'll
Yes.
find
When
out.
fight or flight kicks in, it'll be interesting to see exactly what occurs in those moments, right?
Right. Right. I can't wait to see this, man. And of course, we have Armored Knights who was on the Cats last week and they beat Feet of Flock. Excuse me, the Fog Fleet.
Fleet of fog.
Fleet of Fog, yes, there you go. They beat them last week and to secure their fourth spot in the league. Now APOC, we haven't seen APOC yet this season, but this is their first foray here into the Servinum's Citadel City Supremacy League cast, I guess if you want to call it that. And it's going to be interesting to see what APOC brings to the table. Now, in the past, I've seen Turpits. Let's talk team makeup here for a couple of seconds, as we got about 10 more minutes before the game is supposed to start here. Team makeups. Now, obviously, a North Carolina or a Bismarck, Turpitz, or an Amagi. Of all these battleships, which one do you think? I foresee us seeing quite a bit of Bismarcks in here and maybe a Turpitz or two. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think you'll see Tirpitz, Bismarck, and North Carolina is probably also going to be a good selection. The power of that North Carolina
The power of the North Carolina guns is unmatched by any of the other Tier 8 battleships. Maybe you could make a case for the Amagi. I just
firepower
think that
volume. Yeah,
yeah, I just think that the ability to bow tank is going to be too is going to overwhelm. They're going to be able to get focused a lot harder and a lot more to let the rest of the team do what they need to do if they need a distraction at any point. The only problem with the Amagi is that it has really good armor, but it's in the rear of the boat, and I don't foresee them putting an Amagi out there just to turn around so he can run away. I don't foresee that being a thing. But on the other hand, I also see the uses of the Bismarck being a distraction, being a deterrent for those destroyers to get within that 10.6 kilometer range
exactly.
for the
That
for
makes
the
it impregnable.
secondaries. Yeah, absolutely. But and then again, on the other hand, the downsides of using a North Carolina. What do you think, man?
You know, I when you say downfalls, I don't really know them positioning because you can turn well, the speed's great, being able to limit angles and have most of that firepower facing forward and to be able to tank. Now, granted, though, you get alongside, so if they are able to sneak up and get to the side, North Carolina does suffer there and can drop pretty quickly. So,
Brawling. North Carolina is not a brawler by any means.
no, it's not going to
Uh,
do well and close. And so, if
in
they can
the
push that,
Yeah, in the close quarters combat, especially versus a Bismarck, it's gonna get burned down. Even with his 20-second lag on the repair party as it goes through of the 20-second immunity, the Bismarck is uh, eventually going to burn him down with the secondaries. And of course, I have a feeling that we won't see one-on-ones very often in this game because it'll be a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 or even a 4-on-1.
yeah.
Matchups here as we get into the nitty gritty of the games tonight. So let's look at any other comments about the battleships there. I still think probably Bismarck. We'll see a lot of Bismarcks in North Carolinas. Not too many. Maybe one North Carolina, two Bismarcks. Probably is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I agree in that kind of respect.
Yeah. Now let's look at Tier 8 cruisers.
Yeah.
Tier 8 cruisers. There's several cruisers to choose from that are very viable. You might see a Chappie for his radar. That's a really good thing. On the other hand, you might also see a New Orleans. I don't think we'll see a New Orleans because it's
Radar's a little
typically
shorter range. You'd be better off with the Chapayev, but
uh,
the
it's
203 firepower is great.
right. It's a shorter range, but it has better. It has a longer time of the radar. It's like it's 30 seconds on the U.S. boats, right?
The
Something like
range
that.
being 9 point, oh, quote
Nine
me
and
wrong here,
change.
maybe 9.1, 9.6, right in that range. Sorry, I don't know the
Something
exact
like that.
figure, but
But you get 30 seconds on it. You could go to the Japanese boats. Mogami, I doubt we'll see a Mogami. It's just too fragile. I think the guns are great on it. I don't think so. You might see it on the Tago. That's probably a pretty solid choice. Being the detection built Tago with his 10-kilometer torpedoes. I think that's probably a decent choice. Going over
Kuchasov.
the Kudasov, there you go. The Mikhail Kudasov Tier 8 Russian Premium is a very, very valid choice because it also gives you an extra smoke that you can sit back in the battleship line and smoke up the battleships, and that'll give you some more freedom with your destroyers, which we'll talk about here in a minute. What about Prince Yoikin or the Hipper? What do you think about these two? Well, it's the same boat basically.
Uh, you may see one of those. I feel its advantages, being a cruiser-based turtleback, it is a little tankier than maybe some of the other cruisers. But that versatility with the smoke is something that I think that will give the Kuchasov a better choice over, say, taking an Eugen.
I would probably. Hey, either one. I mean, they're both about the same. I mean, they're like basically a reskin version of each other. So, on the other hand, what about the newcomer to the group? Do you think we'll see an Edinburgh at
Oh,
all
you may see
here?
an Edinburgh to the battle. It could be interesting. That AP is fantastic, with the torp ranges also being 10 and a much more forward-facing arc. You could put itself in a more offensive position. Working in tandem, it'll be great because that smoke is limited, right? The two puff range, even though it's greater, it's smaller. But
23
working in
kilometers,
tandem
my
with
friends.
other
23
ships,
kilometers. That's a little tip for you boys out there, you players out there at home tonight. Edinburgh, 23 kilometers, and then you can get guarantee yourself the two puffs and still be in your smoke and stop just on the outside of that, or just on the inside of that second puff. Excellent boat. I really enjoy the Royal Navy cruisers as they've come into the thing. Well, haven't didn't see too many of it at the tail end of the rank season, and I don't think I've seen any of them in any competitive environment here as of yet. So maybe we can see something like that tonight. Who knows? Maybe one guy, if they want to just try something. I don't think we'll be seeing, oh, let's just
trying in the
try this
playoffs.
out
No, let's
because
not
it's
do.
the playoffs. Let's go with what works. I'm probably a Chappie Kudasov combination would probably be really good. Maybe even like I said, the New Orleans, or I really don't think you'll see a Mogami at all. So there's that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go with the obvious next choice here is the destroyers. You have Fubuki. Oh, it's a pretty solid choice. It's tier 8. You also have the Benson. We
Yes,
saw some
Benson.
Tashkent. We saw some Tashkent play last week, which was an interesting choice in my eyes. I don't see why people would play a Tashkent because of the detection so high. But the Tashkent does bring a speed, and it's very maneuverable to an extent. And
Speed and
I
firepower.
mean, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to get a destroyer smoke. It's not going to be that great, but we also have a chance of having maybe we get a destroyer slash cruiser because it's like a really small cruiser in my opinion. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. A small mini cruiser with a nitrous tank.
Yeah, so we might be seeing a Tashkent. So typically you'll see a Benson. That's probably the
I believe
go-to here.
Benson reigns supreme. Yes.
Benson as well. Also Fubuki's. Don't forget about the Lo Yang. Lo Yang is also a tier 8 boat that
Yes,
we
and with its
can.
hydro, it provides an interesting
Yeah, it's definitely it's
utility.
a absolutely, and with the guaranteed that you're going to have a carrier here, a Low Yang or a Seahull Benson are probably a good choice to take into the playoffs here. Low Yang's going to give you the hydro. You take off your engine boosto and put on the defensive fire for the Benson, the Seahull Benson, and
Yeah,
maybe it can take out some of these planes to give the one carrier an advantage over the other one early. And as we all know, being able to see the enemy team is very, very, very important in what both teams are going to be looking for spotting. If you can't spot them, you can't hit them.
that is correct.
So we'll see how this plays out, and we got a few minutes here before the next before the game here.
Yeah, we're gonna have some interesting setups. I believe Destroyers offers a lot of versatility between those three choices. Lo
Definitely.
Yang, Fubuki, Benson, I believe, would be the primaries. Whether or not we'll see some more Tashkent play, it'll
All
be
right.
interesting to see.
Here we go. If you hit your training room, Mr. Swole, and look for Warhawk, is the one Warhawk 67 on Land of Fires, the one we need to be in. And we will let's go ahead and switch the camera view over to the actual game itself here, and you guys will be able to see that. So let's click that off, and let's click that. Oh, where's the? There it is. Haha! There we go. As we see, looks like we're going to have a North Carolina, a Tirpitz, a Kudasov, a Shikaku, Fubuki, and a Benson. Kind of what we said.
Yeah, we see a lot of utility going here. Fubuki definitely gives that torp advantage, teaming up with the Benson, being a good choice. And exactly, you got the trifecta for the battleships: North Carolina, Tirpitz, Bismarck, each
Each utilizing the great stuff. And the thing about the Tirpitz, which we didn't really talk about when we were talking about battleships, and I think is very 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 nice. It has 7 kilometer. You can get 7 kilometer secondary, so the you're gonna do some damage on the destroyers if they get into this zone, right? Also, it is devastating with those torpedoes.
Yeah, you
If
do have
you
that torpedo load.
Absolutely. Now, also being the Tirpitz being a German, having that beautiful turtleback.
Yes, that tanking is the amount of absorbed damage or potential damage in these matches could reach really high levels, depending.
Yeah, the damage that the Tirpitz can take and the German battleships can take uh, is so much more impressive, I think, than any of the other boats. Just for the fact that they don't bounce a whole lot of shells per se, but they also absorb an amazing amount of damage that can, at late game, be devastating for a team when you're rushing in and you have a full health Benson or a Turpit, or not Benson, but a Bismarck or a Turpitz. It is very, very hard to kill these people. And
Yes. That
with
Citadel protection for those big damage spikes, being able to manage that damage as it's coming through.
absolutely, as we see our the opponents here, APOC is now joined with
And
Wardrum.
we
Go
do
ahead.
interestingly see an Edinburgh coming out, so we are going to see that gameplay right out here from the start.
And, wow, in Edinburgh. See, that's kind of surprising. Now, do you think he brings the smoke, or does he bring his radar? Because his radar's uh, not on the par of a Chapayev.
No, it is not. It'll be an interesting setup. Let's see, what else do we have? So they have a Benson and Fubuki so far. Two double, so double Benson, Fubuki. It'll be interesting, but they do have a Chapayev, so the radar could be covered by that ship itself. Whether the Edinburgh is used for its radar or the smoke, yeah, we'll have to see.
Looks like we have a Chappie and an Edinburgh on one side, and then we have two Kudersofts on the other side. For the AK team, we have a Fubuki, Benson, and a Benson. As they have a Bismarck, a Turpitz, and a North Carolina. Of course, the Shikaku, the obligatory Shikaku here. As for APOC, we have a Shikaku, as we said just a second ago, a Chapayev, and an Edinburgh.
Double Bismarcks on their side with apoc, so they're going to be doubling up on that kind of AOE aura for protection.
It sounds like it's going to be an interesting thing, man. Okay, we need to kill ourselves here. We will definitely need to. We will definitely need to kill ourselves, and we will do that, and whenever we're up and ready. And here we go, boys. Game number one. Armored Knights versus APOC is a go.
Let's get ready to salvo.
uh, that's good stuff. And we are in a Langley, and you are in the Hosho. Do you like the Hosho, sir?
I do not play Gears.
How do you think it'll affect yourself here? Will it affect the enemy team? No, because we're going to kill ourselves. And they will start moving as soon as the timer ends. So I will 3 here. As we are ready to go. Here we go, man. Engine booster. As we get the crowd going out here. Any guys in the chat? Any predictions on who's going to win between Armored Knights and APOC? Rank 5 versus Rank 4 begins now.
And we do have the 3 capture point map set up, so this will be interesting to see how we play with
Yes, it will definitely be interesting. From what I'm seeing on my side, we have the Benson making a run at A, the Fubuki is making his run on B, and then we have our Kudasov and Benson that was over on C, is now starting to make its way across the map here.
And on the other side here, we see a more eastern approach coming up. So they'll be setting up for more of an east side approach here.
You guys are setting up for an east side approach. It looks like everybody on the northern side here, APOC, are running to the toward the C line, right hand side or left hand side of the map, depending on which way you're looking. The western portion of the map is now in effect. This is going to be some interesting things as we see the on the. You can't really see the mini map because of reasons. But there we go. I am on my way down. I am flooding and on fire, so we should be down here pretty quick. So either way,
my double telp.
So either way, we see the planes, the Shikaku planes, are taking out the other Shikaku planes. It looks like they went air superiority as the they have three sets of fighters coming from the enemy team, and now we see the Edinburgh coming from the red team here, and the Benson also from the red team are now really looking really close at B. I think there's one destroyer on B at the moment, one
Yeah,
on
you actually
C.
have on this side we have two destroyers pushing over to the B point right now.
Two destroyers on the B point. All right, well I have one destroyer on A for the green team, and now I am free here, so we can start getting into where we need to be doing here,
Yeah,
and
I'm almost free myself.
actually spotting this game here.
C has been secured, obviously, by here.
Absolutely. C has been secured by the red team. And guys, APOC is on the red team, green team, and this game is the Armored Knights as we see the Benson and the Bismarck shooting down some of these bombers from the enemy Shikaku as Rascally Rabbit has they have found the Benson Captain Fezzik, and they are now shooting on him. He is taking severe amounts of fire.
Yes, he is
Not
being
too much
focused down by
damage.
most of the team here.
Not too much damage coming out to him right now. He's doing a very good job of dodging shells, and the Kudasov has smoked up the Tirpitz on our side. And they are now shooting at the Bismarck Captain Vermicelli.
Yeah, we
Benson's
still have
still
the,
taking
Benson.
fire here.
Yeah, he's really taking the fire here. We see some defensive torp spreads to kind of keep enemies at bay moving out of B here. So we'll see how the AK responds to that.
The enemy Shikaku plane is keeping the Benson, is keeping Captain Fezzik spotted right now, and it's a very nice move to keep a destroyer spotted as long as possible. Maybe you can get some shots into him and do some damage, as Pedro's mustache is taking about 8,000 damage here from the enemy team, and. Man, I tell you what, if you lose somebody early, you never want to be that first guy to die. It's just such a disadvantage as we continue to see shots pouring into the Kudasov, and the return to the Bismarck of the North Carolina, sitting from the smoke, firing into the Bismarck of a Spectre Mage here. What you got going on your side, homie?
Well, what we see is everyone's kind of, you can see there's that smoke plume hitting over around B. Everyone looks like they're getting in position to kind of push above and north from B, getting themselves repositioned. We have the Chapayev holding down C to make sure that it is secure, so it is there in case anyone tries to slip and backdoor Charlie Point there.
Absolutely, and with the Chappie being hiding, sitting up into the islands, number one, it's going to protect him, and number two, his radar goes to that island. So
Yeah,
that radar
he has
can
more
be
than full advantage of seeing the enemy before they ever reach the
absolutely.
cap.
Oh, we see Captain Fezzik's coming back in. I think he's trying to make
Yep,
that
he's
run.
been exposed. Fubuki seems to have spotted him.
The Fubuki spotted him. I might have seen a radar there. I'm not quite sure what happens on your side, but the Fubuki has now dropped off of detection into his smoke as he was taking some severe damage from the Benson. Almost a quarter of his hit points are now gone.
They're now about even between him and the Benson.
Absolutely.
Their health bars are about the same.
I believe the Benson is now radared because the Bismarck secondaries are now firing on top of the Benson from way out. And then now he's returning his fire now that I believe the radar is now gone because the secondaries have stopped firing at the Benson. As boy, howdy, this Edinburgh and the Bismarck are spotted here taking shots from Bismarck, North Carolina, and
the smoke wall is
Kudasov.
moving itself back up, trying to secure them under.
Let's keep an eye on this. All right, guys. So here's what we got so far. We got a Chappie sitting down at C, and the rest of
could be
APOC.
Interesting here.
The rest
in that
of
forward position.
Absolutely, the rest of APOC is sitting here toward the middle at B, and the green team Armored Knights are now flanking around from A into B. as we see the torp wall
Torp wall
kind of
from the Benson. Yep.
yep, torp wall coming from maybe an area of deniability. What do you think, man? Do you think that this? Do you think that I would think that
Oh,
that
hey, we
Turpitz,
have this torp move coming through. Let's see if any of the passing enemies here. It looks like one of those torps launched by
one of them hit? It hit
Armored Knights was
somebody.
able to get a hit, and it was on the Bismarck.
Oh, that's it.
Captain Vermicelli.
That's a very nice chunk of damage going. Oh, and there we go. We see
Oh,
the first one
Rascally
go
Rav is
down.
down, and hang on here. Ducati might be running into another set of these torps here from that spread. This could be a very effective torp push here.
It's very,
Wow,
very
he's going
nice.
to miss it. He is secure. That was a close call.
Outstanding. Looks like Radman is about to take another torpedo. And the Bismarck has now shot down the Kudasov from the team. So we're back to kind of even. I give the advantage over to the green team right now because they've taken out one of the Bensons and they've only lost a Kudasov for it. They will lose a smoke on each side. I think the better smoke obviously is coming from the Benson as the Kudasov Pedro's mustache is now running. I guess
Oh,
a
here we
suicide
go.
torp
Captain
run here.
Fezzik's torp wall could be really devastating here to apoc. He's gotten above north and sea, and if you've noticed, the enemy team's kind of huddled up around that island that's sitting out west of the B point, and this
And they hit
torp wall is going to do some
one
damage.
torpedo on the North Carolina from what I can see. I don't know what's in that smoke still.
Oh, buddy, that was some very tight, puckering moments for those players.
The
Most of them were
Edinburgh
able
is
to
now
move out of
shot
the way.
down.
That could have been
Shot
good.
down. Armored Knights is Fubuki. So now we are down 2 cruisers and a destroyer to only 1 destroyer, which APOC.
Oh, and that counter move here.
Oh, now the Fubuki
Bismarck's
kills
down.
the Bismarck.
North
The
Carolina
Bismarck
Warhawk
goes
is taking a
down.
torp.
Look at all these nasty torps. The only problem I see here is that there's a lot of health still left on the green team and not much left on the red team. This might play a factor here coming up as the
Yeah, if they push
Turpitz
this
is now
corner, this could
leading
be
a
an interesting
charge
battle.
around this corner. The North Carolina boot camp is down to almost 7,000 hit points. He's hitting his repair. Captain Vermicelli's down to 6,000 hit points. Basically, 3 people here are under 7,000 hit points at one
And
point.
Ducati's. Oh,
Here
good
we go.
dodge
We
by
have
Ducati on those torps.
Vass in the Edinburgh is now flanking around the other side of the island. He's pushed up as Logos and Warhawk have pushed into the North Carolina, who's now up to 15, and
Logos
they
has
take him
secured
down.
it.
Turpitz with those massive torpedoes. Excellent play. Captain Vermicelli's secondaries are still going on Captain Fezzik and the Benson as the Turpitz and the North Carolina are now trying to deal with Ducati. And now here comes the Chappie from Charlie onto the Benson, and I believe that he should take down Captain Fezzik here before too long, as Captain Vermicelli is finally going to go down here.
Yeah, this could be interesting now that the
Oh,
three
and-
are kind of pinned inside of B. It looks that APOC has got them surrounded now from all angles. So this could be interesting here for those trying to take B here. Is
You
this
can
going to be
see-
futile? Can they pull it off?
Oh, there goes Warhawk in his North Carolina at 43 hit points. Vass and his Edinburgh have taken down the Benson, and there goes that guy.
Oh, there's the trade.
They did trade. I don't know. That's a decent trade. All they have left is 1 Turpitz, a destroyer that's just gone down. So it's a lone Logos and the Shikaku here. I think this game's just about wrapped up here at this point. The Turpitz is doing what he can. I don't think he has enough to finish 3 guys here.
No, he is getting peppered from all angles right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of traded off. That B corner area seemed to be where most of the conflict took place in this map, whether it was APOC losing their people or over to Armored Knights doing the same. Kind of that western side of B seemed to be the battlefield here.
They had a very, very interesting late game, I believe, that them pushing around, APOC pushing the Edinburgh around the left side of this island here to come in behind was a huge deal because it kept their Benson away from their battleships for smoking protection, which left them right out in the open to being focused down as we see the Turpitz now go down. And the only thing left on the green team is the Shikaku, who is out at the C3 area. And as we see, it was a GG. It looks like they're calling the GGs, boys.
Crazy game, yeah. And I do believe that Edinburgh coming around, sweeping up like a cattle dog, herding the prey into the center.
Absolutely. What an epic game. Let's see what when we get finished, we'll have some conversations with these guys. I want to talk to Vass about the Edinburgh play and their reasons behind getting the Edinburgh into a competitive game like this, and what they feel that it brings to the team. Obviously, the extra smoke, a big wide circle of smoke, and the ability to really hinder destroyer play. I think is one of the biggest things that it brings. But we'll see what they have, and we'll see some of their reasonings behind pushing around that island, instead of having it wait for the enemy team to come around the corner. Of being very aggressive with a boat that is generally fragile.
Yes, that was a aggressive play, utilizing probably the perks of the ship, risk reward ratio, right? It paid off for them. The risk was high, but it worked.
Absolutely. You could say that about a number of different things. Oh, I can't believe this guy would take a Tashkent into a game like this because, hey, maybe they know something we don't know, and we'll ask him. We'll ask him after the match is over. So, game one going to apoc, which was the red team here, and they will now switch, and I will switch with them for the next game. Excellent game for them. And congratulations to apoc. As let's look at the team scores here. Not too many planes shot down. Well, I take it back. The North Carolina Warhawk had 25 planes shot down, 22 by the enemy Shikaku, and
Yeah,
GG has 21 planes shot down. Two kills going on to Logos and the Turpits. One with the one on a Benson, and then we have Captain Fesick with one kill and Jobo with one kill as well. Then we have honestly Vass here and Spectre, 3 kills apiece. One on the Chappie and one on a Fubuki. The big star of this game, I think, is at Edinburgh,
yeah, he did a great job.
running around that corner. Very excellent. They do now have uh,
And I believe as a team, that two cap hold was vital as they got those two caps quickly. The team was really quick to get the C and B cap held and really force the hand of Armor Knights to really play their.
absolutely. Spectre here sitting in his Bismarck and Edinburgh. Yeah, 3 kills apiece. I think I want to say that Edinburgh is a little bit bigger of a star here because of the fragileness of it. They will take it, guys. We will take a 5-minute break here in between the games. I believe is the rule, and then we will come back to it. So we will discuss here. And now we saw at the beginning of the game the Armored Knights making their place known. We want A as opposed to C. When I believe it was, hey, let's see where we spawn at. I believe this is usually this is the way I feel when I'm playing this game. Is depends on what side I start on. That's the side I'm going to go push into. I believe that they had more guys on the left side of the map or the western side of the map where A is, as opposed to the enemy team. Where did you guys start out spread wise?
They went immediately out for that eastern approach, utilizing a small flotilla heading out to secure C, with the majority of the force heading out to secure B cap.
Absolutely, absolutely. My next question for you, sir, when they spawned, did they spawn more toward the seaside? Because there was only two guys, other than myself, but I don't really count. Two guys on the seaside here. It was a Kudasov and a Benson on the Charlie side. So once we saw that come in, everybody else just flowed over toward the rest of the fleet there.
Yeah, APOC started off with kind of a smaller group towards the seaside, which is the group that actually went. So the small flotilla group, I believe it was a triple.
Hmm.
They went up and they secured that sea, left the Chapayev kind of at that L-shaped island that sits there. kind of holding the position, and that DD went straight out to secure the B cap. So while the other two went immediately to B, while the battleships were mostly spawned kind of in that central to uh, the central B side, right between B and A there. You had two destroyers automatically up at B cap, and with
Hmm.
the C cap left pretty much unattended, that DD was able to secure C and move straight across, giving all three DDs into B within the first few minutes of the game, which I think really turned the tide.
Absolutely, it definitely. And when any kind of competition here, especially when you're going through and you're having a point based system here as we do, and you definitely want to get an early advantage, and that advantage is caps. You're not going to
Yes.
kill people right away unless you get a lucky detonation, but I'm sure these guys are all running their detonation flags here as you are allowed to. Um, I think making that run and making that presence known at B, you're not going to get my cap early on, which I think was a huge advantage for APOC here over the Armored Knights because they put an Edinburgh in smoke. They put a Bismarck inside the Edinburgh smoke. They put a Chappie where he was effective to cover at least half of the B cap with his radar, and then the rest of the fleet was really everybody was really close to that B cap sitting behind the islands there at the middle, and it,
Almost hanging
war.
out in that dry dock area. Yeah.
Absolutely. The Armor Knights were unable to push in and push them out of that cap. They started to toward the end. I still think that the biggest turning point in this game is when you have you're shooting your Chappie shoots off his radar. The Bismarck starts launching his secondaries 10.6 kilometers away onto the Benson, pushing him away, pushing him and deterring him from coming into the cap, which forces the rest of the team to have to pick up some slack because he has to drop his smoke. He's going to be sitting in the smoke. Then they lose their vision. Excellent gameplay, excellent use of the radar, and I'm very impressed with both teams so far.
Yeah. Very good game.
So, what do you think? Any changes toward the second? Any?
For Team APOC, I think that play worked well. If they can use that grouping with that same kind of power, I believe that on Islands of Ice, it could also utilize that same kind of setup with the double Bismarck secondary protection range in Edinburgh, utilizing his smoke Chapayev and radar. I believe APOC's got a good setup here. Uh, and same can go for Armor Knights. Their setup was great. It was just a battle of execution. There was a few key plays that kind of changed the tide, and this is a battle for B. I'm assuming in our next map we're going to see kind of the same setup. It's going to be the battle for B
All
with that middle
right.
cap.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but the next room is up. It is on Islands of Ice, and put me over to the other team here, and there we go. All right. So what I'm seeing here from AK Armored Knights here is a Bismarck Tirpitz, North Carolina, same battleship setup, a Fubuki of Benson, Kudasov, and another Benson. So two Bensons, about the same setup as they had, of course, with the obligatory Shikaku at Tier 8. We'll see what we have. Looks like we're going to have a Shikaku, Fubuki Benson, another Edinburgh again. This is a pretty interesting choice here to bring this in for the second time, knowing that they're going to be here. And then we have North Carolina and double Bismarck as well, and the third destroyer is a Benson coming out again, man. So this will be an interesting game. Same setup for both teams as they had last time. There's the Chappie. We'll see how this plays out. I foresee one team going to A and then sending whoever has the most toward A. I think is going to end up throwing one guy up there, and then everybody else will probably focus around B, like we saw in the previous game. So there we go. What do you think, man? What do you think about your setup? Like I said, it's the same thing. How do you think it'll play out? Do you think we'll see people going to A, leaning more toward A, or leaning more toward C, where the more the defense is at?
I think you're going to see that classic setup here, given the destroyer. Well, I guess a better way to judge this is to see let's how the deployment goes.
Right. Absolutely.
But I do believe, yeah, you're going to see a majority of the force, hopefully a smaller group, heading towards one of either the farther north or southern cap, with the majority of the force trying to take over B, getting that second cap secured early.
Absolutely. And we will start out by killing ourselves here first, and hopefully we can do that really quick. Well, with the dispersion here on the northern side of the map here, they're all pretty much within 3 squares of each other. Nobody spawned way out anywhere but me, and that's probably a good idea because, well, I got to kill myself anyway.
We have the
How's
same
your
setup over here. Everyone's kind of centrally deployed, so
Absolutely. So it's going to be
it'll
very
be purely up
interesting
to
here.
them.
I think we're going to see some early action here. Unfortunately, I don't like to see early action because I can't really see it because I'm dead or I'm trying to kill myself. So let's check it out. We got a Benson, Bismarck, Chappie all on the top side. We have the Benson and a North Carolina, and then on the bottom side of it, we have the Edinburgh, Fabuki, and the Bismarck. And from the green team here, the green team this time is APOC, and the red team will be
Armored
Armored
Knights.
Knights. Yes,
And with
sir.
Armored Knights right now, we have a Benson, Kutyasov, and Bismarck heading towards the southern section. Both Kojisovs are heading towards the south, with the Fabuki, Benson, Captain Physic, and Jabu moving in towards the B cap.
Absolutely. It looks like we have our Fabuki and our Edinburgh are now heading toward the C cap. We have the Benson, two Bensons, and the Chappies. The Chappie is now setting himself up behind the big island, just on the other side of B, where he can be effective using his radar. And looks like trailing behind the Bismarck is headed toward the C cap. Edinburgh is heading toward with the C cap with the Fabuki, the North Carolina, and the Bismarck trailing up top
Yeah.
there.
On this side, it looks like A cap is being abandoned. Everyone is moving towards the south. So
That's exactly what I see so far.
we should get into some heavy action soon.
As the Shikaku air superiority comes in, and I should be burning out here pretty shortly so I can get a better look at this. But there you go. Planes are fighting each other. The Fubuki's using his AA to try to get an advantage on these planes for his carrier. But with that being said, he becomes spotted, and so now he has
Yeah,
made. I
Jabu
think
is
he's
taking
made
a
a
lot of fire.
terrible mistake not. Uh, he made a that scared me when I killed myself there. Well, that's funny. Made a terrible mistake turning that AA on, even though I think it might have not been a mistake, but he was spotted anyway. So I guess it's always a thing. As now they have control over the B area. And the only thing spotted so far is North Carolina, Tirpitz, Bismarck, Kudasov, and Fabuki. What do y'all have spotted on that side? As we can see some shots going back and forth. With each other here.
Captain Vermicelli and Rascally Rabbit seem to be the only ones visible right now for
That's a
Armor
very
Knights
big
here.
advantage because now they can really set up because they're pretty much hiding from each other here at this point. Captain Fezzik is spotted. Rascally Rabbit is spotted. They are taking shots. Everybody's shooting at everybody here.
Also scared myself with that death as well.
Yeah, I was over the middle of the map, and when it popped, I
Jabu
got
is suffering
scared.
very low right now. In fact, he is below 1,000 hit points at the moment. So it'll be
Jabu
interesting
is,
here if
huh?
he can survive this.
Interesting to see that as we see the both Bensons now have their AA on, trying to deter the planes from coming back. And it looks like they actually shot them down. Both Seahole Bensons here, I assume, shooting down some of the planes as the torp wall comes in. As Bolo Joe from APOC has dodged the torpedoes if they've run their course here. I'm assuming those are for Benson torps at 9.2 kilometers.
We see Armor Knights spending most of their efforts right now to secure that C cap, which has just been done. But most of that
Absolutely.
fleet is pushed below the G line right now. So It'll be
Absolutely.
interesting to see who can rush to A the fastest and secure that. I believe
I
that's going
think
to be
I think Rascally Rabbit here, who's already on the E6 line, he is headed all the way up toward the A cap. So APOC should have an advantage coming up shortly, as Vass is about to get spotted by the Benson, and he might have to pop his smoke here as the
Captain
Benson.
Vezek's torch run looked like it could be devastating to the Bismarck and the North Carolina here. Let's see.
I don't I don't that didn't look like a Benson torps, but it doesn't matter. Fubuki is not 973 hit points. They are
Maybe
seeing
they
him.
were the Fubuki torps.
I
Sorry,
think they might have been the
those
Fubuki
were the
torps there.
Fubukis. They were from
They were a
So
sense of
Jabu
three.
there getting off some damage while he's sitting low.
There you go. Those torps look like they might have hit, and then we see Bolo Joe dropping torps in toward this Kudasov. If this Kudasov takes these torpedoes, it's looking pretty close at the moment, as we see Rascally Rabbit is now about to start capturing A. He has
I feel
just made it there.
Bass could be dying here soon very easily. He is fully spotted, and Logos is sitting up in the smoke right now in that kind of B cap area. So you
And
have two battleships approaching that smoke about to pop out.
as we see Radman dodging the Fubuki torps down on the south side. But there's a second wall of torps coming in from the Benson, as Dragral also dodges the torpedoes. And we'll see what happens with that second wall, as we'll leave it here. As Vass now down to 5,000 hit points. He can
Yeah.
go down really, really quickly. And the Benson just popped up. Stay Thresh has now killed. Captain Fezzik has now killed the Edinburgh, and that is a huge disadvantage for APOC because of the extra smoke. He was not able to get his heal back up in time, and smoke might have been on cooldown. I'm not understanding why he wasn't there, as we see Ducati
Armor
traveling.
Knights are pushing real hard on Vermicelli right now. We got
Absolutely,
the
they're
Tirpitz,
pushing.
North
They're
Carolina double Kuchasov, and not to mention we see a torp spread that's moving over from Stay Thresh right now as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. Here we have a Ducati Black has come in to drop the smoke over the three battleships that are sitting in that smoke right now. They got a very, very nice surprise for them if that Turpus decides to go up into that smoke. Although he'll probably slow down to try to dodge the friendly torpedoes here. It's always a worry when you're dropping random torps. For prey,
Yeah, you
as
have quite
Boot
the
Camp has hit
smorgasbord in
one.
that smoke.
Boot Camp has got hit by one of those torpedoes. As now the Tirpitz Logos is now charging into the smoke, being followed up by a Kudasov and Warhawk in the North Carolina, and the Tirpitz is a huge threat to these pretty slow
Yeah.
stationary battleships at this point.
Although, hang on, we might see a team kill here.
We might actually.
Logos is actually going to take friendly torps here.
He took 4 torpedoes. He took 4 torpedoes as he launches one off on GG Boot Camp. Here he does hit one. It looks like the Torpitz is going to go down to the Benson Ducati. There they are, right there from the torpedoes. As now we see the Chappie is now taking
I believe
damage.
Captain Fezzik might be. Oh, he has narrowly dodged that torp spread that
Wow,
went through the smoke
then
there.
cue the torpedo beat music, boys, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. He's down to 1,400 hit points, as Captain Vermicelli's at 29,000, and Spectre Mage has
Two
taken
last-ditch
him
torps
out.
were able to get off.
It's a very, very interesting game so far, as we see Rascally Rabbit is now back into the fight after going to Cap A. We have down here is a Benson in the smoke shooting at the GG Boot Camp in the North Carolina, as Warhawk now has taken the charge, taken the lead of his team, and has gone in as we see the Benson finally shooting down the North Carolina here. This is a back and forth game, and very, very, very awesome to see Armored Knights coming back like this after a devastating loss in the first round.
Yeah, and we see a lot of actual close calls for friendly torps as we see.
Oh, there we go.
Warhawk
We
pushing
see
that
a
smoke. Vermicelli's
massive.
got a torp spread moving at him.
We saw a massive, massive torpedo hit on Dragral. Bismarck going down to the Benson, as you guys saw Warhawk shooting down the Bismarck finally here as
And yes,
APOC
we
is
are
now
going to see another
running.
friendly torp hit here.
The
Armored
Kudasov,
Knights, yeah.
Kudasov is
another
about to
friendly
go
torp hit.
down. They have to pay attention to their torpedoes because they are losing more life from themselves than the enemy team is being able to cause at the moment. We're gonna have to sync up their play a little bit more. Although I don't think that the Armored Knights have now lost everything. They're down to one person, the Benson.
Drew is
What an
fallen. Everything is
interesting
fallen.
game
Yes.
here, as they took the advantage, or they took the initiative to charge into APOC here, but have made some critical errors, torpedoing themselves. I tell you, the Tirpitz ended up hitting 4 torpedoes from his own team, which is at least 10,000 damage. At
And the North
least
Carolina
10,000
took a
damage.
few as well.
As we see a really nice drop on top of Ducati Black from the CV. It was unable to hit him, but man, that was really close. And now the only thing we have left is Stay Thresh, and that is
He's about to be
unfortunate.
hammered
Ducati
down. There's a
Black goes
lot of
down
fire
by
going
Stay
out.
Thresh. Chappie will probably pick him up here, as this game is just about over again. What an interesting play. I think it's an interesting play. Torpedoes are very devastating for one team or the other, but then when you give them free damage, basically by hitting yourself with torpedoes, that is very unfortunate for the Armored Knights, as they had a massive advantage on their charge that they
Yeah,
had.
that friendly torp strategy is going to be, I'm sure, thoroughly talked about in their forum or in their groupings later tonight.
Absolutely. Well, that will end this fight. It will be a 2-0 APOC in the 5th seed taking out the 4th seed of the Armored Knights. What an interesting
In-
thing. And we will get the fellows coming down as soon as they get done talking with their team. They will come down into to the Discord, and we can talk to some of these guys if we want to talk to. I want to talk to Vass, and I want to talk to Warhawk, but we'll probably talk to Vass first.
Interesting thing to note. So if we take this map here and we turn the east side to the south and the west side to the north, kind of tilt it over, flipper 90 degrees, you almost see the exact same play that we just saw in Land of Fire. So everyone dying kind of in that island that controls between B and C there. Reference it to B and A in Land of Fire for that map. We see kind of a similar death sentence area with that second cap also being secured easily with no resistance, also being another good play.
Absolutely. Now I know from the beginning of the game, we saw APOC. They could be very patient because they had a 1-0 lead. Uh, they had a 1-0 lead, and they just kind of were very patient with it. From what I've seen, they waited, they sat there behind the islands when they needed to, and they let the enemy team push into them. As Armored Knights was very desperate, they needed this win to push it to a game 3, but unfortunately they will fall just a little bit short as the
Yeah, I believe
APOC.
Armor Knight's strategy of moving the majority of their force to one cap in the beginning of each match has kind of been a pitfall for them, with APOC adjusting and having more of a split division, allowing them to get those second caps.
Absolutely.
We saw early on that Armor Knights moved, secured C, and then the majority of their force was kind of locked up below that G line. And so that battle really took place kind of in that island that sits there in between G5, G6.
Absolutely. We're seeing that island right now on the screen as Net Unicorn is now sacrificing himself to finish the game off, as there's no way that he knows that they've gone ahead and conceded the victory here, conceded to the defeat, however you want to put that. But excellent showing from both teams. Both of these teams are going to continue on. APOC will continue on in Armored Knights. What a great story from these guys. They're really awesome people. They this is I believe their third season in the league. And if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me about that later, and I'll fix it. But either way, both of these teams are very good people, very strong teams to make it to rank 4 and rank 5 out
Hey
of
guys,
8
this is where I gotta go.
teams is absolutely excellent. So hang on just a second here as we have Mr. Jern hanging out here. What up, Jern? How you doing, man? Hello, Mr. Jern. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys tonight?
So far so good, man. Maybe it'll work here. Congratulations on a win, my friend. Going two games to zero over a very well run team. Can you talk about the? I tell you what, man. Let me tell you, seeing first thing first, seeing that Edinburgh come into a competitive league, I gotta ask, what were you thinking, man?
I think the British cruiser line, the Edinburgh and up in general, are a lot underrated. They haven't gotten a lot of exposure, and a lot of the press perhaps coming off of the super testers is that they weren't very good. They have some limitations, but if you learn to work within their limitations, you'll find really fast, powerful, flexible platforms.
Absolutely, I tend to agree. I love the British cruisers. The uh, the pucker factor that you, oh my gosh, is this guy going to actually kill me in one volley? I think it's very interesting. It's very engaging gameplay. Very engaging gameplay in my opinion. So congratulations, like I said, on this 2-0 victory here against Auburn Knights. So where do you guys go from here? Just strategies, are they set in stone? Do you guys kind of play by feel? What kind of things are we talking about here?
We sit down. We have a team of guys that go through. We look at every map, and we treat each new battle as a new challenge to overcome. We sit down for regular practices when possible, and we encourage a lot of communication between our team members. It doesn't always work, but we always know where to focus to get better.
Absolutely. Well, that's always a good thing when you're when you are new to the game, and you're starting to realize the mistakes um, as they're happening or just after they happen. Oh, I should have gone over here. We should have done this instead. That's a sign of a growing player, I think. And if you guys are able to do that as a team, you guys are growing as a team together, and that's really a good. It gives you a good feeling for the future of the squad here. So congratulations. Big stars are waiting on Mr. Swole. He's having some technical issues. He's got a couple of questions for you, and then we'll let you go get with your team for your recap or whatever that y'all do. So take us through that first game. One of my biggest plays is spotting that Benson out and then having the Bismarck using his secondaries to really kind of push him off of the B cap. The Chappie radar, I believe, is. I'm assuming you guys radared him because he was pretty far away, and then he was getting hit in the smoke as well. Using the Chappie in your game. So what is it? Everybody knows what the Chappie is, but what does the Chappie mean to you guys in y'all's team?
Well, it's kind of a convoluted question. There are certain rules that we operate within the league, and one of them is the composition of the team. You can only have so many ships from each nation, right? The
Right.
the Chappie allows us to free up other slots. So, like Bensons are perennial favorites in the destroyer category, for example. You really want to bring as many of those as possible. But we also wanted that North Carolina for its AA capabilities.
Right.
The Chappie represents a very good fire platform for anti-destroyer defense. While they aren't maneuverable and they won't last long under fire from heavier cruisers or battleships, they excel in area denial against destroyers.
Interesting, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, it is a cruiser, and in this game, rock paper scissors that Wargaming has put out in boat form here, destroyers are inferior to the firepower of what a Chappie does bring to the game. Um, so there was one other play that I wanted to ask you about. And it was the Edinburgh play, sending him around the island to engage the destroyer from behind. Did somebody just call that? Do you guys call that? Oh, hey, I think I could get around these guys, or what's the dynamic of when a play gets called that way?
Well, I think a lot of the teams they operate from a script, but I think all of the successful teams understand that the script only goes so far. At some point, usually earlier than you want, the script derails completely, and at that point, you really rely on your ship captains to operate with a fair amount of jurisprudence and initiative. So when Vass went around that corner, he was operating, under the idea that what he was doing was going to help the team.
Absolutely. What an excellent play. I think if that Benson is able to, if you don't push up, if Vass does not push up in his Edinburgh, then that Benson has a chance to get in and support his battleships with maybe another smoke line, and that will really hinder your guys' play of able to focus fire those guys down. Because once he came around and engaged that Benson, it pretty much took him out of the game. I mean, even before the kill, and then you guys were able to focus down the two remaining battleships that were there. So excellent gameplay on that one. Now let's move over into game 2 here. And we've seen a lot of similar strategies over the course of the two games where okay, we want the middle cap. The middle cap is the most important because it gives you flexibility to go, okay, oh, well, they're over here. Well, we can go over here and get the other cap. That's fine. So when you guys are seeing the Turpich coming at you guys and y'all are sitting in the smoke, your Edinburgh's gone down already, and when you see that Turpich get hit by 4 torpedoes from his own team, what are you guys thinking here?
Well, actually, that was actually getting yelled across the comms. He's going to take friendlies. He's going to take friendlies. The Tirpitz is an excellent ship, and if you ever reference our first season, we actually won our season finals with a Tirpitz.
Absolutely.
However, in the intervening time, the Tirpitz's flaws and peculiar the traits, they're well known by everybody. So a charging Tirpitz is no longer, a bear coming down at you and you're going, what do I do?
Right.
Now if you stay calm and you react appropriately, you can mitigate the worst of its damage.
Absolutely. So that was very, very interesting. Thank you guys very much. If there's any other questions here, the power of utilizing the islands at B on both maps. Can you talk a little bit about that strategy of capping the B cap there, and having your force there at B for most of the game?
Well, I'm sure both teams recognize that what B allows you to do is form a line. If you saw, once you get B, your backfield you can quickly cap with a destroyer or an enterprising carrier, and then you can just concentrate on keeping them out of it. Right. It's really like a seesaw, and whoever captures that pendulum has a much easier time levering the other team to do what they want.
You would definitely want to get that early game so you don't have to make the mistake of pushing in at the wrong time, and absolutely let them come to you. So there you go, man. Congratulations. If anything you want to say to your fans out there in the chat right now.
I didn't know I had any fans, but I would encourage everybody who's watching, if you enjoy this, and you're not already part of the game, maybe you're a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're watching, get involved. This is a really fun game to play, and this is a lot of fun what we've done with this league. We'd like to see it grow.
Absolutely. And congratulations again, 2-0 victory, APOC, moving on into the next round of the playoffs. Congratulations and good luck with the rest of your tournament, sir.
Actually, I just wanted to say one other thing. Armored Knights consistently gives us tough fights, and I just want to say they performed, as well as they did.
Absolutely. All right, man. Thank you very much for your time. I know you guys are busy, so we'll let you get out of here, man. So now we have Mr. Warhawk is hanging out in the channel tonight. Mr. Warhawk, thank you very much for coming in, and a heartbreaking loss here, 2-0 versus APOC here, and some of the strategies that we were discussing previous. We saw them tonight, and what does a game like this in a playoff setting mean to you guys as a team, as a whole? how did you guys prepare yourselves for this match here? Looks like we're having some audio difficulties. Do you have a push to talk on? Either way, guys, that was an excellent game on my side, from what I can see. I cannot hear you at all, my friend. So he's gonna try. We're gonna try to get him back here pretty quick. And let me unmute myself here, Mr. Swole.
Hello, hello.
I understand you're having issues over in the Disco. Oh,
Yeah, it's
do
not
you
letting
have
me
a push
utilize the
to
mic.
talk on or anything?
No, can you hear me now?
What's that?
Warhawk, yes, I can hear you. Do you
All
have a
right.
push to talk on over in the Discord, Mr. Swole? Is that what's going on?
Maybe that's what happened. I see my mic's actually lighting up over there now.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to mute this team speak, so maybe we can get you to work over there. Hang on. So, Warhawk, how's it going, my friend?
That's going good. I heard your question. To answer that question, how do we prepare in that? We spend a lot of time looking over these maps and trying to develop a strategy. Through the season, we played Islands of Ice, a fair amount. And it happened to be one of those maps that I think most of my guys just don't like playing, yours truly included. But
I'm not a
it's just,
fan of it. I know that. I know
yeah.
Mr. Swole's not a fan of it either.
No.
Yeah, but you have to prepare for those maps, and we went out, we did the best we could. Unfortunately, I think I called the battle in that second match, and I think I didn't get the instructions out clear enough because I think, as you saw, we were eating a lot of friendly torps. We had a lot of crossfire still coming in from our destroyers, and that one falls right squarely on my shoulders because I didn't, I feel like I didn't do a good enough job to let the guys know what I wanted them to do.
All right, absolutely. Excellent showing from the games. Now, take me through the first game as your Captain Fezzik gets spotted. I'm assuming he's radared, and he's continually taking the damage, and then he gets pushed away from the B cap, and you guys took a lot of really early damage in the Kudasovs, pretty much making them have to flee and be effective because Kudasov's got good range. So if they take damage, then they can just move back and start peppering from range. But then you lose vision. Then you're not able to support your battleships. I understand all of how this works, but when you're not able to get to where you need to be, what does that do for? Does it put pressure on the team to perform better, or take us through some of those situations there in the first game.
Well, it certainly put a lot of pressure on our us in the battleships as we were trying to push. Put more of a onus on us to try to push APOC back into those Kudasovs and to do it in such a way that they weren't in control of being pushed away like that, and trying to get them, have them looking two ways instead of just one.
Absolutely. So there you go, my friend. When you guys see and you look up at the lineups and you see an Edinburgh coming into that first game, what does that make you think of, man? I know. Go ahead.
3 citadels.
3 citadels and get rid of him, right?
Yeah, it's free citadels and let's move on.
It's definitely an interesting choice. Now, Mr. Swole has a question here for you.
Sure.
Unfortunately, he's unable to talk over here for some reason. I think he's got to push to talk, and maybe he doesn't know which one it is. But either way, choosing the major force at a distant cap over the center cap, would you have adjusted that any differently for the second game as opposed to the first game? Was that your choice to go take the A cap first, or were y'all looking at the B, but they got there before you? In that first and second game.
Yeah, for us, B cap, A cap wasn't even in the cards for us. We didn't want to have anything to do with it for our strategy tonight. We were trying. This has been a strategy that we've been working on for a while, kind of practicing with a little bit. I think we used it one time during the regular season. and our emphasis was on the C cap, and then we were going to just try to roll up and retake B. We went into that match thinking, we're giving up A, and we're definitely, we'll get B back in the process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you guys are uh, when you guys are down like that going into the second game, do you make any adjustments? Did y'all think about adjusting the lineup of the squad, or not the squad, but the lineup? Sorry, I just got an alert pop in and make noise that distracted me here. But do you guys think about changing up the composition of the team instead of maybe taking a different setup of boats here? I guess is what I'm talking about, because you guys are on the same, both teams are on the same boats both games. Does that change any of your plans? I understand. Was there discussions about it?
No, not really. We've, all season long, we had developed our plans based around a certain set of criteria. In this case, the ships that we were running. Um, and from that, we just, had people look for people that could play those ship classes well. In the second match, we made a roster adjustment just to get a fresh look in at it, and kind of hope too psychologically maybe to throw APOC off their game a little bit.
Right. Outstanding. Guys, both teams played excellent tonight. Congratulations, Warhawk, for making it to rank number 4, and the Armored Knights ranked number 4 for the end of the league. Unfortunately, this is the end of your playoff run. Is there anything that you guys would like to say to your fans out there?
Well, I just say, for it, like I said last time, I think you and I talked, for this being our first run in this kind of environment and finishing fourth place, I'm just absolutely over the moon with
Absolutely.
how my guys performed. APOC, they played as hard all season. We first time we were setting a match apiece. They beat us the first time we met up with them. We came back the next time we played them and beat them. So, they're every bit of our equal, if not, uh, every bit of our equal. And I think it's going to be exciting to play them again come next season. And I know we can look for some hard fought matches. They certainly aren't going to give us an inch, and that's probably a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations on all the success this season, and we look forward to seeing you and the Armor Knights and all your guys coming up in the next season, my friend. So, congratulations, Mr. Swoll says thank you for thank you for playing very well. It was very very exciting games, very close there for a little while. A couple of mistakes on both sides that I've seen, but overall, you guys played extremely well coming from last week into this week, and so thank you guys very much for hanging out with us, and thank you all for being in the coming in and talking to us, Warhawk.
Not a problem. And thanks for hosting this.
Hey, that's what we do. I was asked, and we shall provide, my friend.
Have a good night.
Absolutely. All right. All right, that is Mr. Warhawk from the Armored Knights, and we also talked with Vass from APOC. Two very good, solid teams. It was two very good plays. What do you think, Mr. Swoll, overall?
I think that was a good performance by both teams. An unfortunate moment in that second game with those friendly torps.
Friendly
Would
torps,
it
yeah.
have made the ultimate difference? It's interesting to say. I think we would have definitely seen an extended fight, but a good performance and that utilization, right? We questioned the presence of a Royal Navy cruiser in a match like this,
And
and
it,
we
it
saw it
showed
perform,
up.
and it performed well. It utilized everything that it has to bring to the table in a very effective way, and he managed to take it down. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a very interesting choice, and we really didn't. We saw it excel in the first game, and then we saw it not played so well in the second game. It was focused down way early, and as soon as its smoke was gone, it's a sitting duck, pretty much. So they were able to take it out. Uh,
Yeah, they learned from that first game the power that it brought to the table.
Absolutely. So either way, boys, Any stars from the first and second game that you want to? Well, I mean, both teams are full of really good players, but anything that stood out from you in the first game?
I thought it was very effective. The Bensons on Team APOC side in that first match, really covering the B Island defense there. Those battleships that were tucked up against the island, they were quite exposed on those lateral flanks, but both times Benson's and the Edinburgh were able to keep a long enough smoke trail to kind of extend and block that line of sight of those battleships, allowing them to fire on the enemy without necessarily them being seen. So
Absolutely. As we said in the pre-show and just before we got started, that spotting is going to be the key, and we did see spotting be a key. Now, any standouts in the second game?
yeah, well, in that second game, it looked like just a full team performance. As I was watching on Armor Knight's side, we were watching a lot of the unfortunate friendly torpedo spreads coming in. Uh, I think there was a good adjustment to whoever it was over on Team APOC side who quickly realized that no one was going for that North Cap to quickly go up there, capture that, and pull back down.
I think we end up seeing the same strategies from both teams where they make a play for the B squad or for the B cap, and then if depending on what the other side is, if we have the B cap, we can adjust and shoot one. As you heard Warhawk say it, you can send a destroyer out to Cap A, or an, he said to use his words, an enterprising cruiser out there. So overall, man, I think they were both good teams, both solid players. The Edinburgh going around the island, making that call himself to really separate the team, and which he did that. It pulled the Benson away. The Benson went down. He was unable to support his battleships that were in the middle of the map. So a little bit of an outplay there, I think. Edinburgh, my star in the first game.
Yeah, I agree. That move where APOC was sitting inside the that kind of port area on Bravo, and I think Armor Knights thought that they could push that corner and kind of V attack and kind of encapsulate those sitting in that side, and it ended up turning that they in turn got encapsulated at B and round up due to that Edinburgh kind of whipping himself around and utilizing.
Absolutely. And as for the second game, friendly torpedoes are the star of the game. I think without those friendly torpedoes, the ending would have gone differently, but it would have might have been the same, but it would have been a little bit closer because that second game, once those torpedoes, friendly torpedoes are hitting each other, that's a lot of free damage that the enemy does not have to do. So either way, Vass and the Edinburgh in the first game and friendly torpedoes in the second game. Those are my two stars of the matches. So thank you guys very much. You got any last minute words here as we're going to end?
I agree with what the statements were. If you guys are interested in this stuff, join in.
Absolutely. We guys can give you the Supremacy League homepage right here. We're going to link it now, and when I put this video up on YouTube, we will link it underneath. There it is, supremacyleague.com. I'm sorry, excuse me, www.warshipsupremacyleague.com. Go over there. If you guys have interested, find some people, talk to these teams. Maybe if you're interested in doing it, they have requirements, and you guys can look at their individual websites and get involved, my friend. Get involved with this league. This is a very good league. It is a wargaming supported league, as in the winners of each league will receive prizes for their team. So they will receive prizes. I'm not quite sure what. I think there's a doubloon prize and some like war chest prizes and stuff that they will get to each of the winners. So and flags as well. I believe there's a Supremacy League flag that they will be able to fly on their boat. We are Supremacy League champions or something like that. So excellent. Wargaming loves this kind of stuff. They want esports type of league. So go on in and support it. Go over to the warshipsupremacyleague.com, support them, sign up for their little register on the site. You can see all the past champions, what's coming up left, and as I'm not sure, I think our next cast of the Supremacy League won't be until December the 3rd when the semifinals are happening. Now, those semifinals are best 3 out of 5. Must win best of 5. These are obviously best of 3 here for the round 1. Semifinals and finals are best of 5, and also the bronze medal match will be the best of 5 as well. So,
Earning that endurance.
There you go. Armored Knights following tonight. The APOC advancing to the semifinals, and they will play either the number 1 team or the number 8 team. The number 1 team being the Western Fleet, and then number 8 team being Old Ironsides. And we'll see what happens with them over the next couple of days. It says they have another couple of hours before they are required to be finished with their games. So either way, guys, thank you very much. You want to say anything to them before we go?
Everyone out there, have a good night, and thanks for watching.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. Thank you guys very much. Congratulations, APOC. Moving on. And, well, that's it for us, man. Guys, don't forget, my boy Thunderwolf is doing a charity stream coming up soon. Actually, I think right now, official Good Guy Gamers, www.twitch.tv/official Good Guy Gamers. A really nice guy, really awesome people. Been in here hanging out in the channel. If you guys have hung out in the channel for my normal streams, you guys will love this guy. He's fucking great. Just don't call it Edinburgh. So anyway, guys, go check him out. He's a really good dude. Thank y'all very much for being here. Give me about 10 or 15 minutes, boys, and we'll come back up for our normal stream once I get this all out and done, man. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see y'all next time.